Alright, welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at the new Desolation Squad. This video is sponsored by CMO Games and VoxLink. More on those later. The new Desolation Squad has a rocket with your name on it. The new Strikeforce Agastus box makes planetfall this week, packed with heavy reinforcements for Space Marine forces, from a customizable Primaris Lieutenant to a brutish new Dreadnought. Front and center, however, is the Desolation Squad. These armor-clad artillerymen are the latest addition to the ranks of the Primaris, laying down volleys of heavy firepower from across the battlefield. While Eradicators are forced to hustle their melter rifles into spitting distance, and Hellbasters must lug their plasma incinerators close enough for rapid fire, Desolation Marines can simply sit back and let the magic happen. The magic in this case is explosions. Yeah, I get what they're going for here. Essentially, the Eradicators are like the heavy, close hitters, but shooting still, and then we have like the mid-range Hellblasters. They do have 3 different profiles, and only one is rapid fire, but I think more they were getting at like kind of that mid-range. And the Desolation Marines are definitely the long-range fire support. Now let's talk about their roles a little bit. Now we'll get into the actual like dedicated roles of these models just a little bit here, but they are definitely a long-range carve-out. So yeah, Space Marines are definitely missing a Primaris troop long-range fire support. Now that being said, the eliminators with las fusils are actually really good. Now there's only 3 in a squad, so there's not a ton of volume of fire, but they do hit pretty hard. So we'll have to see how these kind of stack up compared to them. So I know that this is going to be a hot take, and people absolutely hate these things, and everybody's like comparing them to Nerf rifles. But honestly, over time, they're starting to grow on me. Like, I didn't hate them at first. They were definitely a little bit over the top. I prefer the two-handed versions to the just kind of like one-handed here. This is obviously just a little bit ridiculous. But I mean, things are definitely a little ridiculous in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. I mean, it takes place far in the future with genetically altered super soldiers and aliens. Insane technology and all kinds of crazy, crazy other stuff, such as magic, the warp, demons. So honestly, for me, like, even a one-handed rocket launcher that's just a little too big, like the size of the guy, is like not that over the top. I don't know. I mean, it's a hot take, obviously, but I kind of like these guys. They're growing on me. The two-handed versions look good. The one-handed version is a little much, but yeah, I don't hate them. Traditional missile launchers, such as those available to the Astra Militarum, trade raw power for flexibility, swapping out frag and crack payloads mid-battle. The armorers of the Indominus Crusade will book no such compromise. So these new rocket weapons are specialized to fire one of 2 warheads, chosen when building your army. In exchange, they boast the most powerful missiles ever available to Space Marine infantry. So the Super Frag rocket launcher, which is one of the 2 profiles you have to choose before the battle, 48-inch range, heavy D3+3 shots, strength 4, AP -1, damage 1, blast. So that being said, with the changes to the doctrines, we know that first turn and multiple turns potentially, as Space Marine shooting has gotten a lot better, these things are going to be shooting at AP -2. And you're going to be averaging 5 shots per at strength 4, 1 damage. It is blast, so you're going to get max shots in certain situations, but honestly, that's probably just going to be an extra 1 or 2 if you roll poorly. So the Super Frag is not bad. But honestly, if you're averaging about 5 shots per guy with this, and you have 5 guys, that's 25 shots, which isn't bad, and the range is definitely nice. But honestly, 25 strength 4 shots with AP -1 or 2 if you're in the Devastator Doctrine, not really something that Marines were missing. I mean, you have plenty of like bolt guns, bolt fire, stuff that's basically filling this role already at strength 4 -1 AP. So I'm just not sure that the Super Frag rockets are going to be that popular or the ideal choice. More reliable, more powerful, and with an effective range that exceeds even a sniper rifle, the Super Frag rocket launcher is the ultimate rebuttal to hordes of unwashed heretics and slavering aliens. There's nothing quite like reducing the enemy's battle line to a smoldering crater with one pull of a trigger. On the other hand, when your foe rumbles towards you with a spearhead of hulking behemoths, a volley from a Super Crack rocket launcher will punch cleanly through any armored shell, be it metal or chitin. And now a quick message from this week's sponsor. This video is sponsored by CMOGames.com, where you can get 15% off most Games Workshop pre-orders, and they go live right at midnight Saturday mornings. CMOgames.com offers free shipping on orders over $25 in the US 48, and most orders ship within 24 hours. CMOgames.com has been selling Games Workshop products online for more than 20 years, and customer service is their top priority. CMOgames.com carries the full line of Games Workshop products, including 40k, Age of Sigmar, Kill Team, warcry, paints, hobbies, and tools. Visit CMOgames.com using the affiliate link in the description below so they know you heard about CMOgames.com from Warhammer Man Studios. Now, back to the video. Alright, so we saw the Super Frag rocket, but here is the Super Crack rocket launcher. So we see range 48. Type is heavy 1, strength is 8, AP minus 3, damage is D3 plus 3. So yeah, I mean, this is a really nice profile, honestly. It's basically what a las cannon should be. We've talked about in the past how the problem with las cannons now is the 1 to 6 damage is just way too swingy. On average, you're looking at like 3 or 4, but it seems like more often than not when you need it, you're going to roll that 1 for damage. And then even if you command point re-roll it, maybe you're going to get a 2. But it's not going to work out well. So if you have a normal las cannon, the average damage output is going to be 3.5 technically. The average damage output with this thing is going to be a 3 and then a 2 on the D3, which is 5. So it's basically about 50% more damage on average. But the best part is that it moves up the minimum damage that you do substantially. Because the difference between doing 1 damage to something and doing a minimum 4 damage to something is huge. And with the AP3 right off the bat, again, in Devastator Doctrine, you're going to be hitting stuff at minus 4. So not a lot's getting a save against this unless it has an invulnerable save. And even then, if something sneaks through, it's going to take big damage. I really like the profile on this, honestly. I think realistically that if they want to make las cannons good, all they do is just take this profile and have a strength 9 and call it the las cannon. But I mean, we did talk about the las fusils earlier, just kind of for comparison's sake. So I think realistically, the best comparison to this is probably the Eliminator Squad and the las fusils, because that is basically your primary source of hard-hitting weapons from infantry at range if you're in the Primaris field. Now, obviously, if you start looking at vehicles or Firstborn Marines, there's some various other stuff. But I think the closest comparison is probably going to be Eliminators with las fusils. Now, right off the bat, the las fusil basically has a very similar profile. It's 36-inch range, heavy 1, strength 8, minus 3, 3 damage. So it does a little less damage. It has a little less range. And with the las fusils, you only have 3 guys. So you're only going to have 3 shots. As where with this, you're going to have a 5-man unit minimum. And that damage is going to be 3 plus a D3 per. So I have to say these are hands down better. Now we'll have to see where the points stack up and where that kind of works out. But right off the bat, the Super Crack rocket definitely seems like a nice improvement. And it basically fills the gap for everything that I wanted from Primaris heavy support. So I gotta say, profile-wise, these look good. It's right what it should be. It's exactly what I would have guessed, anticipated, or created myself. This is starting to grow on me. I really like it. Some people have posted up memes about Fifth Element as well, and I love Fifth Element, so it just makes me think of that movie. And as ridiculous as those weapons were in the movie, I mean, what does that red button actually do? Let's find out. Whichever means of destruction you choose, Desolation Marines are all packing a little something extra under the barrel. The belt-fed Castellan launcher saturates the sky with guided bomblets that rain down on the enemy wherever they hide. It's perfect for flushing out cowardly targets, and it fires separately from the main rockets, allowing you to pick and choose your victims. What's more, the Desolation Sergeant can pair it with a Vangor launcher for maximized indirect fire, wiping out whole squads before they even come into view, and all while guiding the squad's aim through his Signum targeting system. Now that's multitasking. Alright, so here we see the Vangor launcher. So this is a different profile than the Super Frag or Super Crack. So this is a 48-inch range, heavy D6 shots, strength 6 minus 1, 2 damage, and it is blast. It can target units that are not visible to the bearer. And then the Castellan launcher is what everybody has strapped under their weapon, which is 36-inch range, heavy D3, strength 4 minus 1, 1 damage, blast, and again it can target units not visible. So neither one of these is overpowered as far as indirect fire is concerned. Obviously with the Devastator Doctrine, that's going to take it up to minus 2 AP on both of them. And then if your opponent is in cover and out of line of sight, realistically, it's going to basically take it to them making a regular armor save. Because 1 AP goes away for shooting out of line of sight, and then 1 AP goes away for cover. So when it's all said and done, they're basically just making a regular armor save. So you're not going to be dropping Terminators with this, but something like Harlequins that is fragile, they hit hard, but they really rely on kind of like the shadow games and staying out of line of sight. You can definitely take down a few players. And honestly, I think a little bit of indirect fire, especially on some infantry, is well needed and well deserved for Space Marines. So is the Vengor launcher actually good? Well, let's say we have 5 of these guys and the sergeant takes the Vengor launcher instead. And then each of the other guys has either the frag or crack, probably the crack. Heavy D3 shots for each of them. So we have 5 guys getting an average of 2 shots each. So that's 10. Plus the sergeant is going to roll somewhere around 3 or 4 for his shots. So you have about 14 shots. The Signum is going to get one of those guys shoot at ballistic skill 2. So maybe that's going to be the sergeant. Maybe they're going to change how the Signum works and it's going to benefit the whole squad. We don't know. So on average, let's say we get about 14 shots. We hit with about 10 of them. 50% of those wound. So you have 5 of them, basically your opponent making armor saves, assuming they're in cover and out of line of sight. So realistically, against somebody with like a 3-up or a 4-up armor save, you're probably going to do like 2 or maybe 3 damage. It's not going to be a game changer, but definitely could finish off a squad or a single model that's trying to like kind of hide out of line of sight to stay alive or stay on an objective. So not bad. 5 of them is probably not going to be a game changer. If you start taking 10 in a squad or multiple squads of them, then we're starting to talk because they can really dish out some damage. And then realistically, when you take into account the super crack profile as well, again, if we have like 5 of those shooting off, 1 at ballistic skill 2, the rest at 3, let's say you get roughly 4 hits on your target. Let's say your target's a vehicle, maybe 2 hits are going to wound. Your opponent's going to be pretty much without a save. And on average, each of those shots is going to deal about 5 damage. So you're looking at doing about 10 damage with 5 of these guys, plus another like 2 damage to out of sight targets. So honestly, not bad. You're going to do probably about 50% to 100% more damage than a 3-man squad with less fusils. Now, obviously, you're going to pay substantially more for these models. Even if they're only 25 points apiece, 3 of them is going to come out to 125, as where the Eliminators, 3 of them is only 75. So I do like them. They definitely fill a slot. They have some cool little abilities built into them with the Castellan launcher and the option to take the Vengor launcher. I'm not 100% sure if the Vengor launcher is going to be worth it, but I do like the idea of a little extra indirect fire, especially if you have like 2 or 3 squads of these guys in your army. You know, the idea of basically like 3d6, strength 6, -1, damage 2 shots out of line of sight starts to add up pretty quickly. Honestly, it kind of reminds me a bit of the Dark Reapers back in the day, with the sergeant having the random profile and doing that extra little bit of damage. Now a quick message from today's sponsor, VoxLink Tabletop Gaming App. VoxLink is the ultimate tabletop community gaming app designed to connect tabletop gaming players, help find and attend games, events, and tournaments nearby. VoxLink app will offer a free version as well as bonus features for premium users. VoxLink app is the best new way to stay connected to tabletop gaming communities you love. And who's behind this revolutionary new tabletop gaming app? The one and only Constantine, aka the Magnet Baron, a 30-year veteran of the hobby. And with your help, we can make this dream a reality. Check out the Kickstarter launch of the VoxLink tabletop gaming app that will change the way that we connect and play forever. VoxLink, help build the community and make tabletop gaming better for us all. Now, back to the video. So yeah, they sort of remind me of Dark Reapers, the Exarch with the random shots and the ability to basically lay down a decent amount of heavy fire and some indirect fire as well. I think these profiles are pretty good. Obviously, everything's going to be contingent on their points. We know what their survivability is going to look like as Space Marines. It's going to be pretty good. But in the right scenario, it's not very difficult to pick up 5 Marines. So yeah, that is it for their stats. Honestly, I have to say, I like them. I'm impressed. They look good. Now, I am curious also, the Sergeant has the Signum, which we've seen in the past in like Devastator squads, but also the other guys have like a little mini Signum on their backs as well. So maybe as long as the Sergeant is alive, the entire squad is going to get +1 to hit. So maybe we're talking about hitting on 2s. There could be something there. Now, I'm just guessing on that. I haven't seen any kind of leaks or anything that would tell me that is going to be the case. You know, I really got to say, these guys are growing on me. I like the models. The profiles are pretty good. And it fills a spot that has basically been lacking in the Primaris line. So that's just one more box, in my opinion, checked off for Primaris Marines. And I know Games Workshop has caught a lot of hell lately, a lot of it from me as well. But I got to say, these guys don't look bad. I mean, obviously they're new and they're a little bit out there. They're definitely gaudy. They kind of have like an orc-esque thing going on with the gigantic guns proportionate to their bodies. But I like orcs. So yeah, they look good to me. So let me know what you guys think. Obviously, these have probably been the most controversial Space Marine release in a long time. There's a lot of memes about them. I've seen a couple people do like a Photoshop rework and everything. And when it's all said and done, I think they look good. Sure, you could probably do something to make them look a little cooler or a little less insane, but I like it. Part of the reason I like to play 40k is because it's out there and it's insane, and it is this fantasy future world. So when it's all said and done, are the guns a little bit too big? Yeah, maybe, but I like them. I like Nerf guns too, so. So honestly, are these guys a little bit over the top? Yes. Do they fill a key role in game terms? Yes. Do the models look unique and different? Yes. And I'm definitely going to be picking these up. I'm going to be picking up the Strike Force Agastus, assuming I can get my hands on it. And I'm going to be painting up some of these bad boys eventually. So honestly, these guys are pretty awesome. I could totally see them in Imperial Fists or potentially Iron Hands. I mean, sitting around with Ironfather Pharaohs with a 5-up invulnerable save, 2-up save in cover, just unleashing a mass amount of ranged firepower, some of it indirect. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Unless you're on the other side of it, then maybe not so much. So let me know what you guys think down below. I am excited to see these guys. Honestly, they really are growing on me. Always like to hear back from you guys. Are you excited to be picking these up, or are they just a little too much for you? Are the profiles good enough that you're willing to convert your own, or are these just a hard pass for your Space Marine army? Special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. Check out the link in the description to save 15%. And the VoxLink app as well. Take a look as that Kickstarter is going live. And it's not often that you have the opportunity to help revolutionize the tabletop gaming community forever. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.